Thank you everyone for coming. This meeting is now over. We have a call.
We'll see you. Well, see you.
Okay. All right, I'm Judy Glover. I want to introduce the board for those of you who don't know us. Danny Matthews, Brian Vincent, Larry May, Dan Evans is running a bit late, but so again, we've also was in a meeting. You guys know the drill. Try to be quiet if you can. All right, so it's time to ratify the minutes. Approval of the meeting minutes closed January 11th, and meeting minutes closed February 14th. Are there any changes to the minutes? The minutes are approved. Moving on to the ratifications. Rather than read them all, I hope you all got a copy of the agenda.
Yeah,
Yes, there.
one with that.
There are some agendas up here.
Thank
If there are any questions, we'll be happy to answer them at the end of the meeting during the question and answer time. Okay, so we'll move on to the president's report. And you can also find this online in a few days. So it's been a very busy couple of months for the board and the committees. Committee reports will reflect the many projects that are going on, and they'll be including but not limited to the implementation of the new website platform, creating additional boat RV storage spaces, pressure washing buildings, and general upkeep of our neighborhood. I don't want to take away their thunder, so I'm going to ask you to listen to the reports, which will also be online a few days after the meeting. So the board is continuing to update policies to comply with the CCRs. One in particular relates to the types of vehicles that are allowed to be parked in driveways. I know we've got a lot of new people who've moved in and they may not know what the policies and procedures are, what the CCRs say. So we're working to identify that in a better way, and that'll be published soon. And then we will follow our normal violation process. The contract for this year's financial audit and tax preparation to be signed has been signed and both are underway. Budget proposals for 2025 are coming up soon. So all committees are being asked to look at what their needs and their wants for next year. If there's something large, more than a couple $100 that you think you're going to need, you need to be able to present it to your liaison, try to justify it, and we'll throw it in the budget and see what happens. If we don't know about it, we can't put it in the budget. So it's incumbent on all of our committees to make sure they know what they need. So once a board is prepared to budget, we're going to have a couple of open budget meetings. And in the past, they have not been well attended by members. We hope that as many people as possible would come to them so you can see what we're budgeting, have questions. The only way we know that we're on track and use our money wisely, because it's our money too, is to listen to what you guys have to say, ask us questions, we can explain, or maybe not explain, and you'll see it a different way and you realize it's something you need to fix. So again, please try to attend those meetings. And something that's not on my president's report, but I just thought about, we're going to have 2 open positions available on the board at our annual meeting in September. In a couple of months, you will see nomination packet coming out. If you know anybody who want to nominate, anybody who would like to run, again, somebody's got to run this place. We need new people who might be interested in it. If nothing else, let them ask them to join the committee. If they're not interested this year, it might be next year in running. But just be aware that we really need to look for people to run for the board positions. It's very important that we have people doing this. I'm not running again. Dan Evans is not running again. We've done our duty. It's a difficult job, takes a lot of time, but enough said. So anyway, at the end of this meeting, we look forward to your ideas, comments, questions, whatever you've got. All right, with that, I'll turn it over to Larry for the treasurer's report.
Good evening, everyone. I'll have treasurer's report for 2 months, the period of December ending 31 December and one for January ending the 31st of January. There's printouts up there if you didn't by chance get them. There'll be December's is the first at the front to back, and in the January you'll see a different look to it. These are also posted to our website now, along with the breakout and the summary sheets as well. There's about 7 to 8 pages that are the summaries of the sheets of the accounts All the money's flow there. The only thing it doesn't really have are the extensive journal ledgers and those things. So, but everything you need to know that this comes from is basically already posted. All you need to do is go check it out. For the month of December itself, total operating cash was $233,254. Our totals were $170,546.41. Our total assets, as far as from the operating side, was $403,801.13. The balance sheet reserve shows 1.252,991 million. Our operating expenses, I'm just going to kind of cover as we go down the list here. On the maintenance side, which is pool, clubhouse, landscaping, and facility, we were under budget for the month of December by $7,932 change. On the administrative side, we were $28,684 some change under budget. And our operating utilities, security services, and reserves shows a $92,450 overage. That includes monies that were in the reserves that were in the different accounts that at the end of the year have to roll into a different account. So this is an accounting presentation of that. I will tell you, as we go down through the reserves, there's a breakout of by month, the expenditures. Flip it over on the back, we'll see expenditures starting in March and then running down. They're delineated there as far as the what they're for and for the amounts. We have $29,496.54 in expenses in the reserve last year. And having said that, we don't show the distribution yet, and I'll talk about that when I get to the January part of this. We're in the year in December, and the January also we've not seen the distribution for reserve funds. So the December shows only that part. Then the January will not be truly reflective yet because we've not been given the distributions of funds yet because the annual assessment will not do until the 31st of January. So it's not going to be really as accurate on my sheets until we get our audit done. We have about another month. But anyway, just on the December, our delinquencies, we show total delinquencies of $19,902.25. We have liens filed to pay for, and we have nothing in foreclosure status. Proceeding on to January 31st, total operating cash is $688,178.83. Our totals were $188,603.14. For total current assets, $876,781.97. The balance sheet reserve shows $1.247,542,015. And then our breakout of the operating expenses you see there, these are expenses. Show for, and I actually kind of messed up if you look at the last column there, shows it's a TYD that should be year to date. So I'll have to change my letters on that. For maintenance, we're $9,135.20 under budget, $4,770.44 under budget, and $6,495.14 under budget for the three expense categories. Our total operating expenses, $20,400.78 under budget thus far. In our reserve, we had no transactions for reserve expenditures in January. Our total reserve expenses are zero. We have 4 liens, show a balance owed of $26,601.78 and no foreclosures in status. Again, this is reflective of January. It does not show the annual assessments. The distributions have not been received or reflected in here for the reserve monies that will be coming in from those assessments. That should start coming up whenever I get the February financials, which is any minute. Having said that, I'll get with that question at the end, right?
Yes. Okay. All right, on to the committee reports. And the first one is mine, the ABC POA. Hopefully, most of you know what that is. It's an organization of a bunch of POAs in this area who are banded together, and they're actually a nice political action group to try to get things passed for us or watch for things that happen to us in the North Carolina legislature. Anyway, they're monitoring one of the bills that would restrict the ability of HOAs to collect delinquent assessments that is still being bandied around in the legislature. There's been no vote on that yet. And they're also responding to a lot of the HOAs and POAs requests for information. A lot of times we want to do something and we don't know if we can do it or how other organizations have handled it. So we reach out to them and get a lot of good feedback. from them as to how they do things, and it helps us try to resolve some of the issues you might have. So activities, projects completed since last report, modified the bylaws, yearly dues remaining $125. There was an attorney presentation regarding the Corporate Transparency Act and how it would apply to HOAs. The law was designed to protect against money laundering. And someone seems to think that HOAs are a good way to launder money. And then we had letters to the insurance commissioner opposing the rate increase, and they're all aware of that whole rate increase they wanted to have for insurance rates, and that's on hold for now. Activities, projects planned to start, none. Budget issues, none. Reserve budget issues, none. Art, anyone here from the art?
Um,
Good evening, everyone. I think I know everybody here. For the benefit of those that don't know who I am, I'm Don Testerman. I serve on the ARC with Mike George and Les Weintraub. And as you've all probably been aware of, the building boom in Oyster Harbor is still increasing. We've been very busy over the past several months, and it looks like it's going to be another bomber year here. We presently have 30 builds under construction. We have, we've completed 4 final inspections within the past 45 days. 3 approved, 1's been declined. Homes under construction, coupled with occupied homes, totals 185. Wow, it's getting up there. And that represents like 39.3% of our community's capacity. I just got a smudge on, excuse me. Okay, since January, the ARC has conducted several pre-construction lot walks with the builders. Additionally, the Oyster Harbor ARC has reviewed numerous requests for home improvements, such as, but not limited to, generator installs. Everybody wants a generator, it seems like. Backyard fencing, requests to remove dead or diseased trees, exterior house painting, new roofs, outdoor showers, fire pits, and the list goes on and on. Waccamaw, under the direction of the ARC, has been issued several warning letters to builders for violations of our guidelines, including stop work orders, and where needed, imposed monetary fines. They don't like that. The ARC has met with the board's liaison, which is Danny Matthews here, for revisions to the ARC's guidelines. And that's about it for now. There's more to come, I'm sure.
They're gonna be announced very soon.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Don. Boats and docks, Bruce?
Well, I guess the big thing with boats and docks since the end of the year there is, we started to expand the boat storage into the parking lot, and to accommodate our backlog. We're not going to worry about getting fencing up right now. We put in 7 temporary spots, which are pretty well full. And we'll put in some more permanent spots once the parking lot gets sealed. Hopefully sometime, soon. To accommodate the boats, we did do some trimming of the trees along there. That was a pretty much a long day of cutting and hauling across the street to Danny's place to have a bonfire. We had, 4 spots open in the storage area with people moving. Those filled up. We still have a few people on the waiting list. You know, with the growth and the fact that, you know, we continue to get, advertise the boating community. We just continue to get more and more people that are coming in with boats. You know, we continue to monitor the status of the boat ramp. We did have this structural engineer come down a couple weeks ago and crawl underneath the pilings and everything and make sure everything looked good from the previous work. His initial impression was everything looked fine. We'll get a written report from him to document all that. We had to replace a life ring at the kayak launch. And the other big thing we do in January, well, really in February and finish in March, is the registration, the annual registration of all the boats for the storage area. I think we just about got that all wrapped up. Bob and Candy do a tremendous job of keeping track of everybody and keeping an extensive spreadsheet to make sure everybody meets the requirements. And really, that's about it. We're, you know, looking to finish out that expansion when available. Thanks.
Thanks, Bruce. All right, next we have clubhouse renovations.
Yes, I'll do clubhouse renovations as far as the chairperson. Current ongoing activities, a flyer was sent out to members announcing the auction of furniture and unwanted items in the clubhouse. 3 items were bid on and sold. The section sold and will be picked up. Maybe gone now, it wasn't picked up yesterday.
It's gone.
Outstanding. The committee will meet on Wednesday, March 20th to resume work. The committee met yesterday to determine which items in the clubhouse what they wanted to sell or donate to other charitable organizations. So I wasn't here for that meeting, but they had that meeting yesterday, and so it's all good.
We just kind of reviewed everything from before, and nothing's really changed.
Do you want to read this? I don't
want
to take you though. I don't want to. And budget issue not known at this time.
Thank you, David.
And
Communication, Bert.
Good evening, everybody. So we've been very busy in communications and will be for the next several months. First, some statistics of the old website. I'm going to be talking about the new website next, but on the current website, we've done 10 web updates, added 19 new users, which kind of tracks with the ARC report. We sent 22 MailChimp messages, 2 issues of the Oyster Pearl, and 3 Zoom meetings. Just FYI, there are 12 people who are zoomed in right now watching this presentation. In terms of activities completed since last report, some of this is ongoing as well. Implementation continues on the new website, which is called HOA Start. We've divvied up the initial tasks. Llewellyn Braidman is tackling the calendar and amenities. Jim is tackling forms and tickets. Chris is handling documents. I'm handling the committee menu and general oversight. Things that you'll see in this new website that are very confusing in the current website. All documents will be stored in a single place. You don't have to search 5 different locations to find a document. They'll be in a single folder structure. We've prototyped that and we'll be demoing that to the board of directors next week. We're working through the best way to organize calendar events, activities, and reservations. We've also got a prototype of that going as of last night, and we'll be presenting that as well. We're working through the best way to organize forms for online completion and automatic routing. There will no longer be forms for the sake of forms that you have to print out and mail in or bring in. All the forms will be automatically routed to the proper committee chair. You fill out a vote, not registration form. And it'll go to you, one of you or both of you. And you can accept it, comment it, or reject it. And any of those actions, the sender of that original form gets notified. So it's a closed loop system. Activities projects planned to start within the next 6 months. We're going to continue to hold meetings with the team and our liaison, Larry, to move forward on this. As I mentioned, we're going to be demoing progress to the board of directors next week. We're going to nail down all the things I just talked about, calendars, forms. We need to finalize the menu layout. We need to come up with some graphics where we may be reaching outside of our own committee to people who have those kinds of skills. We need to load all the member data, all the 491 people who are currently in the old website have to be brought over to the new website. And unrelated to the new website, we are continuing to prototype a moderated member-only Facebook page. Budget issues, none. Reserved budget issues, none. And no changes in committee.
Bert, one quick question. Do you have a target date on when you're gonna launch the new site?
I wish we did. Right now, we were hoping to have been wrapping it up by now. Obviously, we're incurring some financial issues with 2 websites going. So we're working as fast as we can, but we still have a fair amount of work ahead of us.
Thanks, Bert. Financial planning.
Yes, me. Okay. Okay. Are you reading or not?
He's ignoring you.
After I'm Dave Loretta, hope it's not. Anyway.
Be nice, G's on.
Okay. This will be the Financial Planning Committee, current and ongoing activities, project status. Second draft of the reserve listing for 2024 has been completed for presentation to the board and related committees on a date to be determined. I'll be working with the board after this meeting to identify what that date is going to be and get back to you, Dave, and your committee. A second draft was also prepared for the reserve expenditures scheduled for 2024. This document will also be discussed with the board and related committee. Again, we're waiting on the distribution of the monies coming in from Walcomar's results for annual assessments this year, but it's my opinion on that. The update to our current mission statement has been completed and is awaiting board approval. The board will get a chance to see that immediately after this meeting because I've got it all packaged up over your form. We'll get a chance to look at that, if you don't mind. Activities projects completed since last report to the board, none. Activities projects planned to start within the next 6 months. The Financial Planning Committee is exploring alternative sources of revenue to improve our overall level of reserve funding for future years. And this is very important. Committee purpose membership changes, none. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Grounds.
All right, Mike Little is out of town and asked me if I would read this for him. And just a note of the projects that have been completed since the last report to the board. If you haven't had a chance to meet Mike, I would encourage to see him. He's the guy that walks around camo pants and shirt with his hat on, and he is constantly working on our community, especially our irrigation system. That was his life before retirement, and now it's his life after retirement. But he has really been getting our irrigation system back to a functioning, practical operating, and saved us a ton of water in our water bills. So I just want to say that for him, but He has actually added additional lights to the trees at the water park. If you've noticed the new landscape lighting around the trees, there was, we actually doubled the size of the lights in the water park last month. If you've been to the new kayak launch, you'll notice there's a bench for you to sit on down there. He took it upon himself with the approval of the board and built that bench. So for everyone to enjoy. He has installed irrigation battery timers for all of the pots on the pools and out front. Everything with the new systems are all ready to go for the new plantings. And I know that if you haven't been aware that if you ever go by, and some people used to, that you go open the water irrigation timers, you can't get at them anymore. They're all locked. And they're all on Wi-Fi now, so they're all controlled, so we can actually activate them anytime or shut them off if need be. He did mention that, and it has been noted to the community, our entrance out front has really suffered. They have requested as an item to fund fixing and repairing that. Our new plannings will be in May by our landscape group, and the board is addressing that for the entire community at their request right now to get it to the place where trailers don't drive over and ruin everything that we have out front. And so we really are at a challenge to do that, and we're going to find a way, even if it's steel spikes when they run over. So there were no budget issues and no community changes.
Thanks, Dan. Member orientation, Mary Ann?
Hello, everyone. I'm Mary Ann Hyden, and Judy George and I have the honor of chairing the Member Welcome and Orientation Committee. And we're back into business. We're getting ready for our next member welcome for the new homeowners on April 23rd, 7 p.m. right here. You're all welcome to attend. That's what we're in the business of doing, is welcoming everyone. Under the current activities, the updating of our documents for this event on April 23rd is being done. Also, the updating is being done to the website. And the activities projects completed since last report to the board. We received a list from Waccamaw and are in the process of working with the communication committee to get as many email addresses as possible for the invitations. The invitations that we do not have email addresses for, we will either send the invitations by USPC or snail mail or hand deliver. So right now it looks like we will be inviting 31 new members, which is amazing to think that we have. So it is growing, and these meetings every 6 months have really been valuable, that we get the feedback from after they're here into the community, and we start seeing the new faces coming on committees and just getting involved. So we're really happy about that. So 31 new members, this number might increase if more houses are completed before the April 23rd event. Activities projects planned to start within the next months. We're going to continue to prepare for the April event. And then we will continue to have another event in the fall. Right now, we're holding 2 events a year, the spring and in the fall. We don't have any budget issues. We're a pretty low cost budget. We're happy for that. And we don't have any issues in the budget, and we don't have any membership changes either. So we're all good. Thank you.
Bill?
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Justice, the chairperson for the Ponds and Fountains. ponds and the fountains, fountain lights are all operational and functioning properly at this point. Ongoing projects, we do have a couple of lights out in the assembly. There's 4 lights in those fountain assemblies, and a couple of lights at Wood Duck are out currently. We've contacted our contractor, our lake contractor, to address that. The interesting thing in that is that we've converted we've converted all of the ponds and fountain lighting to LED. And with that said, there's 2 lakes that still have an assembly, lighting assembly, that was the old halogen light assembly that was made to adapt LED lights. It still doesn't have the same functionality and energy savings that the LED assemblies that are on the other lakes had. And with Wood Duck being a focal point as people drive in here, it's right in the center of the entrance to the community. I'm going to recommend that we go ahead and install the LED assembly on there. The warranty on the lights and the longevity of the LED lights after that assembly is installed, I think, will prove that it'll pay for itself. So that's our ongoing project at this point. Since the last board meeting, we performed our ritual of daylight savings time and went around to all the lake pump timers and light timers and readjusted those by 1 hour so that they come on for the longer times. Projects that we've been started and looking at for the next 6 months. We're still going to try to find the data, the electrical schematics, or whatever's necessary on the level control apparatus that is mounted onto the Cardinal Lake. That research is ongoing. And then we're also still keeping on the back burner the access point to the weir down at the Russell Hewitt Lake. Ongoing operating budget issues, we didn't have any. Reserve budget issues, we didn't have any. And Jim McGowan and I are on the committee, haven't had any changes, and Dan Evans is our liaison. I want to thank Candy Swift, John Iden, the members of the Pearl newsletter for the article that they recently put together for the Ponds and Fountains Committee, and we appreciate the publicity. Thank you.
We appreciate the chat. Safety and preparedness, Bob.
Good evening. I'm Bob Wilson, for those of you who don't know me. Leanna Winslow and I are co-chair of the Safety and Preparedness Committee. We are working on a number of projects. We have the Community Watch Project, and 2 things to report on that. There are now 7 identified zone captains, and they will be meeting with us in our April meeting. And the Community Watch signs have arrived and are in the process of being handed off to structures to be put up. So there are 3 signs that will say Community Watch on them. The zone captains will meet with us. I just said on our April meeting, and we intend to get that off the ground pretty quickly. I think it's pretty well in good shape right now. There will be a June town hall that is planned for Community Watch, and that will bring the rest of the association into it. There's been a call for first aid classes, and I'm in touch with the county on that, and there's going to be a sign-up sheet or a series of sign-up sheets for people who want basic first aid, AED type classes. We are, in terms of the budget for 2024, we have the signs. we've allocated $500 for radios. Those are the two-way with the weather. $300 for mass casualty kits, $200 for first aid kits, and a community watch flag. So when the golf carts go flying around, they can have the flag up and everybody can see that it's community watch. The request for the 200-watt siren was turned down by the board. What can I say?
I didn't see that.
We can revisit that.
Well, I didn't see that.
You know how loud a 200-watt siren is.
Now you did it.
Yeah.
I won't hear that.
We are continuing with disaster planning and we're looking for another town hall a little bit later in the year as the hurricane season comes up. I'm sure you all are aware of the new data from the Gulf Stream, which is now changed to indicate that the hurricanes may be more aimed toward us than away from us as in previous years, and also the La Nina change that is taken place, which will affect the hurricane season. So there's no guarantee that we'll get hit by one, but there is a higher probability than there was last year. You know, you can take the same boat y'all took last year. Remember that? Things that have been completed, the incident report, which will be part of the new website. So if there is something somebody sees that they want to report, then they will have the ability to do that. We are reviewing our mission statements as requested. We are identifying a 2025 budget as requested, and we have that done, at least in concept. And looking to see, oh yes, we are continuing to work on the speed calming devices. I was instructed to coordinate with Structures, which I have done, and Structures is coordinated with the board, and I think everything at this point is still on hold. Is that not correct?
We
That'd
are,
be correct.
it is.
Yeah, so we are on standby on that until we get instructions from the board with Structures.
I will add, part of that was working with Judy. I went out to the ABC POA group because we're trying to canvass all of those neighboring communities that have what they are doing in the way of traffic calming devices, in particular speed humps and those things. We're trying to get as much information as we can to come back and bring before the board and the community itself. And what better way to reach out to all the other communities to see what they can successful with or not, strengths and where they're not strengths and where they're in the process of doing it.
As far as the current operating budget, I've covered that. Reserve budget, we have no issues and there are no changes in the community.
But that-
We don't want to talk about
No, thanks. Well, okay, thank you.
Social committee, Beth?
Hi,
Hi.
I'm not Carla, I'm Beth Baker, and I don't know what she's doing, but she asked me to help out, and I, of course, said yes. For current activities, our committee continues to meet on the second Tuesday of every month. If you've ever been to one of those meetings and ever want to witness some really fun things that happen just on the planning stage, feel free to come, right, Judy?
Right.
Next event is Let's Dance, the line dancing instruction and fun on Friday, 3/29/24 at 6:30 at the clubhouse led by Brittany. DJ Kevin Andrews will also be on hand. Originally, it was scheduled in February, but it was canceled due to illness. Pippa, we can't tell you what she had, begins with a C. Updated 2024 social committee event. Calendar is attached, just the initials. Activities completed since last report to the board. We had a Super Bowl party and game night. Sunday, February 11th at 5:30, attended by 35 members. We had deli sandwiches. They were purchased by Walmart and they were actually delicious. Committee members provided chilling and the trimmings. Attendees were asked to BYOB and bring a snack or dessert to share. As always, Hank and Monday Gallagher took charge of the scoreboard game. The committee reviewed the survey completed by HOA members last year and then completed the 2024 calendar of events. As a result of the survey, 2 new events to include children were added. We're going to do a kids pool party with games and ice cream, and a social ice cream social and a trunk or treat event at Halloween. The calendar has been posted to the website and on the clubhouse bulletin board. Captain John's Seafood Truck and Trivia Night took place last Friday with 61 reserving dinner and 45 staying for trivia. Quite the competition occurred that night. The food was great and members had a fun time with trivia. Prizes were awarded to each of the 7 competing teams, and the last team won Kleenexes because they were the losers. So that was Carla's idea. I can say that, yes. Activities for the next 6 months. We've already shared that the Let's Dance is rescheduled for March 29th. April 19th, the charcuterie sampling and wine tasting. If you didn't get to attend that last year, don't miss it. It is like super fun. It's a beautiful way that all the food is displayed. So that is coming up as well. Saturday, April 13th at 11 a.m. at Mallard Pond is the wiffle ball tournament. Sunday, May 5th at 6 o'clock, Cinco de Mayo party, which is another yummy event. Sunday, June 15th at 1 o'clock, a pool party and the ice cream that we mentioned already for the kids and adults. And then you could always find the calendar and the dates and the details on that website that those guys all do. Budget issues, we don't have anything except we have $93.28 on hand. And I'm pretty sure the 28 cents is going to go a long way. There you go. And we have one change. Marty Goldman has resigned from the committee, but she may agree to join in the future. Thank you very much. Oh, I'd like to say something else. We had a turtle talk here a few nights ago and Jim saved the day. The streaming that came, we couldn't get anything to go on the TV. And of course, the presentation is a PowerPoint and a short video. And Jim, can you come and help us? And he scoots up from I think it was Home Depot's parking lot. I just want to let you know, that's the second time he has saved the day with me for Turtle Talk. So we are lucky to know each other in the neighborhood and little bits about each other. And it's a blessing to live here. So there you go.
Very Jimmy.
Thank you, Jim.
One trivia night.
Oh,
Which team was that?
that was the team that was right here.
You know him? I was. That's people on my team.
Structured, Bill.
I'm Bill Puglisi. I'm co-chair with John Champlin on the structures. John spent some of his time in Florida. I got a pretty long list here. So in the normal course of structures takes care of light bulbs, batteries, taking the trash out, monitoring the street lights. I think John and I does a report. It goes to BEMC and say whatever's out needs to get taken care of. Change the timing on the lights for the seasons and the time of day at the clubhouse and over at the pool, which I think we have to do again. Some things that we had worked on that came up that are complete. We put, Scott Reed put timers on the lights on the pickleball courts. Several times have been left on all night, and I think they're sodium something.
Expensive.
Yeah, they're not cheap. They're not LEDs. Again, Scott Reed, Bob Swift, and Bruce Baker, they connected the conduit that's running down to the light on the water park dock. I'm getting quotes for painting both the gazebo over at Mallard and at the water park. I only have one, we need three to go to the board and see what they want to do. As we said, we're working with the safety and preparedness on the speed modification things. We're going to have another meeting probably in May. We've had a discussion about this deck outside the clubhouse. And to come up with solutions, it needs attention. Do we replace, do we repair, do we strip, do we paint? There are different coatings that have come out of recently that we're going to be exploring, and hopefully in April, we'll have something that we can bring back to the board for their decision. Okay. The little wooden entrance over here, Bill Adam power washed and sealed it. I don't think it was ever done in the 20 years that we've been here. We have Tom Jenke as a new member on structures. Tom, stand up, think about push. He's going to do a lot of work. Some other things we've had discussions with is to screen the pool furniture in the winter, possibly enclose it underneath the overhang behind both pool rooms. Take that screening down in the summer. And this way we can protect the furniture during the winter season. We're going to put shelving in the guardhouse for more storage. We're going to put shades on the front window so you don't see all the shelving. Because I think there's still storage upstairs with decorations for the various holidays. I think Carl's going to clean out the decorations, and I think we'll be able to get all the decorations in the guardhouse with the shelving. Don't know, but we'll find out. We're looking to get a new door for the pool pump room. I think Danny was looking to get a metal one. I don't know if that's still coming about.
It is. We hope to have an actual very soon.
Okay. And when you go around at the gatehouse and at the water park, there's some of the trim that still needs to be replaced. It's 20 years old. Some of the wood's gotten rotten. Some of it's been replaced with ASIC. I think our go forward when we're replacing something is going to be ASIC, which is the plastic wood. So there's some of that still needs to be done. I think a small item is to replace the hose over at the shower at the pool. I don't think we need to do that. I think I was able to get it apart, and I'm going to put a different fitting so it's the same kind of metal as opposed to two metals seizing up. I believe the board is going to ask Rainstorm to snake the drain at the shower.
That's correct.
At the pool. We can't do it. It's just clogged with dirt. There were carpentry bees that are drilling into the pool house. I don't know if the routine exterminators we have to treat our properties has taken that or not, taken care of that, I don't know. The post on the entranceway and the entranceway that always get run over.
The statues of Trump to John.
Yeah.
I put that up last week and the next day it was down again.
John's give out.
There he is.
You get asked.
That was the idea.
So we're gonna look for different options to kind of try and keep them on, but I don't see how a 40-foot tractor trailer can make that turn and not hit John's favorite post.
John doesn't either.
Let's see, I think I lost where I was. Trains, pool house, spending, spending. I said the trim. We have volunteers in the neighborhood and structures who are going to power wash the Russell Hewitt gazebo. Our neighbor to the left of it graciously has said we can use their water. So that takes one of the issues away to get it taken care of. Um, We have constructed a kayak storage rack. I don't know if that's gonna go forward. Go forward in the structures department. At this point in time. And in the last meeting, we had some clarification on the benches that are in the gazebo at the water park that are aluminum. And then there's ones that are outside on the decking that are a combination of metal and polywood. And I guess waiting to see from the board, are we going to replace the benches that are peeling, the aluminum ones on the gazebo? They're aluminum and they're oxidizing. So we're waiting to hear back from the board. What are we gonna do about that? And that's about it for structures.
Thank you, Bill. All right, unfinished business. First up is update on the stormwater drainage project at the Danny.
Well, hopefully you've seen somewhere in the community, Rainstorm Solutions has been close to you. They are actively working on our system and they are completely finished with phase one. There were 3 phases in the way the work was coming down. There's still, if you go to the end of West Norfolk Parkway, you'll see a mountain of dirt that keeps growing down there on that lot. And I thought that they were probably 50% finished, and I was told that they were about 30% finished. So that's the amount of silt and debris that's come out of the drainage structures so far today. But their plans right now is to be 100% completed with all the riprap replacement, storm drainage, all the elevations for our swells graded, seeded, and hydro seeded when they go back by the end of April. That is what our hopes are right now. And they are doing the pool while they're here.
Hey,
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
your reminder, if individuals want.
Oh, gosh, thank you very much. What time do you go? You know, this is really, really important to all of us as property owners. And if you notice the drainage structure under your own driveway, if it has filled or is below the elevation, then it will be a deterrent for the drainage system for the community to work properly. While this contractor is on site, if you notice that your pipe under your driveway needs to be addressed, it will never be cheaper than right now for you to do that. It is the responsibility of the property owner. Also, the instructions to the state, but I would stress to everyone to check the pipe under your driveway and let a board member know that if you need rainstorms to address it while they're here. Thank you.
Okay, update on the beautification project.
Yeah, there's and this goes right within the flow. We discussed this a lot, and we have 2 or 3 bids in for our paving project. We are very pleased with the 3 contractors that are bidding for us because they happen to be the largest and the most long-term in this market, period. All 3 of them are very reputable firms, have excellent reputations, and so far our numbers are coming in better than we had expected. They are addressing all areas of concerns, subbase, courses, the total amount of pavement that's going down. And we're excited about the fact that we're getting all that information, and we have 1 bid that's still to come back. The board is going to actually take the bids in and review them all together and then make sure that all 3 contractors have given us identical bids so that the scope of work is the same all the way across. And we should have, and if any of you don't know and haven't seen the plan for the scope of work, it is all the way down to Oyster Bed on Oyster Harbor Parkway, all of Eagle Crest, all of Redfish, and all of Healing Water up to Russell Hewitt. So that is a big percentage of the roadways. And we did a really diligent research on where we are. Does that mean that the other streets won't be paved down the road? They will, but now they're in really adequate shape to be able to move the community where it needs to be, and it would be another phase of that development. What we did discuss, and we worked through the contractors, and they're very much in favor of this. If you just heard me say that we're looking at completion of April of the drainage structures, well, guess what that puts us into? That puts us into tourist season. It puts us into visiting season for families and the hottest time of the year for tempers to flare and people to have to be dealing with construction traffic. So the board has discussed this and discussed it with the contractor and decided that September to October is the time frame that we're going to do this now, so that we don't have to deal with the hottest months of the year. It's not to our advantage structurally for that asphalt to be placed in hotter temperatures. By far, we're going to receive the benefits from that. And that still keeps us on track that we will have this resurfacing done in 2024. Okay.
Still, you update on the back gate.
Our back gate is, if you don't know it, the operating mechanism of the back gate is 20 years old. And it's tired. We have been fortunate enough, and it seemed like I got a phone call every other day for months, that the software and the operating circuitry within the gate was failing on a regular basis. Our current provider and vendor for our gate did find a circuit board and replaced it, and thank goodness, since then, it has been operating with minimal failure at best. But because we know it's a live alone situation and we know it's old and outdated and the technology is far dated, that we have received pricing for replacement, not of the gate, but of the operating system that will tie into the current kiosk system that we have, and it's 4 years old now, if I remember correctly. So we'll be able to do that, and it's going to minimize our costs significantly by doing that versus other options. And right now the board is waiting for me to finalize the numbers, but it's been approved, and you will be seeing a new operating system go in the back gate.
Update on boat storage expansion project. I know Bruce spoke a lot about that.
That's mine too. Bruce hit the high spots of that. The only thing that I would say is that these guys have done an amazing job at thinking out of the box with this. Yeoman's work in there for getting all the bushes and all the stuff cleared. And you know, yes, there was a great bonfire. Everybody missed a wonderful marshmallow opportunity. Or if you ever see it, just stop by anytime. But there was a group that was out there that just really worked their hearts out. So if you see any members of this committee, please thank them, because they've saved this community a tremendous amount of money. I'm going to echo what Bruce said about the fact that this is a boater community, and we are looking at ways to keep that need fulfilled as we move forward.
New business, pressure washing project. Brian, is that yours?
Yeah. Want to thank the structure committee for getting the quotes for the pressure washing job. I don't know if anybody has noticed, but the job is complete. A+ Pro was out here a couple of weeks ago. This building, the pool house, the water park, Mallard Park, and the guardhouse. The roofs were power washed and cleaned, and in conjunction with that, Danny coordinated the cutting of the trees around the clubhouse specifically. We had some hanging trees over, which was causing a lot of the dark spots that you could see. So A+ Pro did a really good job. They were out here, we're actually out here 4 days. They spent more time on it than I believe they thought when they bid the project. But that has been complete, so I think the last time that had been done, how many years? I mean, it had been,
I'm not sure if it ever.
we're not sure if it's ever been done, so, we should be in good shape for the next few years, and that, again, project is complete and has already been paid for, so.
Unintentionally, because I'm looking at the wrong agenda, I skipped over kayak rack.
Okay, could answer that.
Okay.
Just to make sure everyone's aware, we committed that a kayak rack would be built for the community, and that has not changed. That kayak rack plan is to be inside the back storage area so that it be secured. And we are looking there are actually members that are stepping up now to go back and build that. The plan had changed a little bit from the initial, but right now, either it will be built within the community or there will be a contractor to supply that kayak.
Okay, and other new business, the art direction, and Danny, that's you again.
Art direction.
Keeping him busy, keeps him out of it.
When we say art direction, these guys, as you've heard from the report that Don just put out, they are extremely busy. And they too have a lot of work going on. And the goal now is that we're looking and talking with them about getting all of the guidelines up to date, everything to make sense of where it is, to see what we can do as a board to support them and help them in their endeavors every day, to aid with them as another set of eyes and ears, and even looking to options that we can put other people in that understanding. From the CCNRs, the ARC can only have 3 committee members, but that doesn't mean that in the past, there was a committee called the Modifications Committee that would take on other endeavors other than structural solutions that the ARC has to deal with. As that burden is not the right word, as that workload has increased, there's more need for support on that side. So we're looking and discussing, the board is meeting with the ARC on a regular basis to see what is the best thing to change the direction moving forward. So just so you know, there are a lot of engaged thoughts and concepts and growing. The guidelines of this community, and you've heard in many meetings, are living documents. As the constructions change, the type of construction changes, the climate and variety of people that are building in here change, so do we have to adapt to it. So that's our goal, is to make sure that the ARC's not as in a standalone position. The board is actually working with the ARC now to make sure that we're open to the community and understanding where we grow from here.
Larry, was there something you wanted to add to new business?
No, I think I covered it.
Okay.
No, I don't. You want me to do it?
Which one?
The, speed humps.
Oh, okay.
I think the community ought to know what part of the turn is, and if you have a friend, contact him.
So the idea about speed humps has been kicked around for a while for speed control devices. Is that what you're want me to talk about?
I think that we ought to be aware that we would have already addressed this, and some of our other associations have already had problems with this. The reason for speed humps and our calming devices in this county right now are being frowned upon by our fire marshal. And if you're not aware of that, and you happen to know him or see him, greet him with nothing but kindness and a sneer, okay? He has decided that no one's going to put calming devices in communities, and I've kind of taken this as a little bit personal, and I still will. His reasoning, I understand. He says he does not want to delay an emergency response vehicle in any way in any community. for them to have to slow down to speed bumps, that it could save someone's life. I challenge him to tell him that if we have a child or a pedestrian injured because of speeding in this community, which is more likely by far than someone getting lost in an emergency situation, that he's making a really bad decision. It's not just us, it's this county. And so there are a lot of people within the county that are challenging that right now. And just want you to know, we need to be able to slow traffic down. When you meet somebody in the contract running 50 miles an hour on Patrol Parkway, it's just not good. So I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but it has just really been concerning.
Well, we kicked around the idea behind speed calming devices since we stood up the safety committee. That was one of the reasons why we initiated it, and Bob will jump in on this in a second. Speed humps were originally put in as part of the paving process in River's Edge. Because of issues with the fire marshal and not having approval, they were forced to remove them at the association's cost. There's a process that you go through to apply for speed humps. It is only one step in several for speed calming, what you're trying to do to slow traffic down, right? It's one of the things that Bob and his committee are exploring. There's no specific thing we're going to, if we could get permission, put in humps. It is one option on the table to figure out what's going to be the best. Where would they go? What is the cost associated? And it's in combination with other things, since we primed the pump here to get to talking about it. If we do get speed humps, and this would be a decision that would require a lot of involvement with the community itself, where would we put them? What would be the cost? Would we do it with combinations of other things? The answer to that is yes. It would not be just speed humps at all alone, if that were the decision we were to go to. It would be a combination of paint, rumble strips potentially, moving the signs around, doing whatever it takes. And again, this is, we're talking about all these things in sort of an open forum here, because no specific decision has been made, because we don't know the process for gaining approval on any of this stuff from the county itself, and we would have to do that, like Danny was talking about. So just so you know, we're not having this conversation, we're kicking the can down the road. That when I mentioned earlier, the ABCPOA is involved, I have to research all of their inputs over efforts that they've had by community for some time to figure out where they were successful, where they were not, what legal issues did they get into, and what costs associated with that. So this is not a simple thing. And with that, we would come back at an open meeting and present what we're thinking about to the community itself. So, but I think it's going to wind up being an association-wide effort. But you have to stop thinking about it. Why do we need speed humps in the first place? Why did we put in the stop signs in the first place? Because people go faster than the 25 miles per hour. And the majority of the people who do speed through our community are the residents. Let's face it, let's just say that. And if the only thing that we can do is encourage people to calm down, slow down, or otherwise we're going to have to look at whatever it is that we can to get them to calm down, because then they're going through stop signs, and this is commercial traffic as well, and visitors to our neighborhood. We're looking at all options to try to get people to, just from a safety perspective, you know, our roads are about 22.3 feet wide. There are golf carts, pedestrians, animals, people, tractor trailers, all sorts of commercial vehicles using the same piece of real estate. We've got to try to get people on their own to slow down a little bit and obey these signs. Otherwise, we're going to have to do what we can. But this is not new to our HOA. There's not an HOA in this state or this country that doesn't face the same thing. So what we're trying to do is learn from their successes and failures and come back with the best possible option. We're just not there yet. And we don't want to make a mistake that costs us money, and at the end, we have to take it all out. That does nothing but waste our money. So we don't do that.
Can I take a couple of comments?
But go ahead.
Being target forefront of whatever of this discussion, I'm gonna just get some definitions so that they're out there. I think all of you are familiar with speed bumps. A speed bump is something that is typically triangular with a rounded top, usually about 6 inches tall, usually a base of 6 to 8 inches. You hit it, you roll over it, and you thump down. being one who has been certified to testify in courts on these things, I will tell you, you will lose lawsuits on them. That is a speed bump. A speed hump is a device which is basically a plateau. It's about 3 inches tall, runs for about 3 feet, and there's some specific definitions. And you drive up over it, then back down off of it. And then there is a speed plateau, which is the same thing as a speed hump, except that it is more than 6 feet and it's more for commercial traffic. The problem with speed bumps, and I want to get away from that term because we're going to have a hard time around here with speed bumps. But the problem with that is front end damage, neck damage to us old folks, and lawsuits, and they're frankly not effective. The faster you hit a speed bump, the less effective it is. Now, on a speed hump, where you drive up, the plateau goes out 3 feet down. If you hit that at a low rate of speed, what it'll do is you'll just basically drive over it as if it were just a high spot on the road. Relatively little effect. If you hit it at a high rate of speed, then it lifts the front end up off, which then lifts the back end off, and you hit the ground like that, and you know, yeah, it launches. Okay. There are also speed dips, but they will not suffice here because of our water control problems. And when you get involved in the speed humps, and you can put them in either as a permanent location, or you can buy those that are movable. And there are advantages and disadvantages of each. I know there are some folks who want just the movable ones. I'm going to argue against that because there are some distinct disadvantages of those. However, the advantage to them is that if you have a particular area of construction and you want to saturate that area, then you can move them to that area. So when we talk about this, let's keep our terminology straight if we can. And I'll be glad to put out a position paper or the definitions on these, whatever the board wants me to do. But they are distinctly different structures and they have distinctly different effects on speeding. Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
And we may have volunteers with hair dryer guns to set specific locations to look. Into.
We watch people run through stuff.
Yeah.
We watch people when we walk the dogs every morning,
Right.
run right through the stop sign.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Take.
Yeah, that or cameras.
Yeah.
It's our neighbors who do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Short of shooting somebody.
The discussion thus far is way down the road on implementation.
Yes.
Where is the part of the plan that objectively quantifies the problem?
First off,
Or else we cannot design a solution and we cannot measure its effectiveness.
that is a good question. Statement to make, which is why we talked about it for a long period of time, but we don't have enough information now to formulate that beginning part. Because, and what I'm trying to do is to find the successes and failures out there of people who've already done this, exactly what you just described, to see what they tell us. It may be in the realm of the possible, it may not, and it may be cost prohibitive. Don't know.
You've also got human nature. The people who've done it are not too likely to say we screwed up.
That is true, but we can't be successful. And when we talk traffic calming devices, we're talking not just speed humps. We're talking about other measures like paint strips, even there are other things that can be done, other signage in different locations. And when the sheriff's department came out, sheriff's office came out, and they looked at their stop signs and stuff, they were critical of their placement. So this is going to be something that's beyond Larry and the safety committee. We're going to have some people come and give us a.
To answer your question, we do have some references on agencies and companies that will come out where the most effective place to put these things.
But we need to have that initial, why do we need them in that first step, which we don't have.
Yeah, we're not there yet. This is highly conceptual at this point. We're still gathering tons of information. And it's just out there now, a whole lot more to come on this.
Yeah, it just seemed the entire discussion was already way down the road, so we're just trying to pick up what time.
No, because it was a topic that been brought up several times, and I'm trying to push it off because that is way down the road. We need the right step. Part of this.
Okay, all right, we're at the point of questions and answers. Parking lot scene. Parking lot scene.
Yeah, that's, that is under bid process right now. We're looking at sealing, parking lots around the clubhouse and or the area that Bruce mentioned is, we're having that quote first. That area of our expanded parking lot, our remote parking lot area has never been addressed since it was placed. There's never been sealed, there's never had any maintenance on it at all. Especially since we're taking boat storage and expanding it in there, we're looking at that as priority versus the one at the clubhouse. So we're getting quotes on both. You're welcome for me to open up that can of worms, Mr. Wise.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let me try this again, since obviously I've been wrong twice, maybe the third time is the charm, I'll have to give you one. It's time for the question and answer period. Does anyone have a question or a comment for us? And if you do, please come up to the podium. Of course, come up to the podium, please.
I have an easy question,
You have a what?
an easy question.
Uh-oh.
Can the board give us a timeline when you can get back to us on those benches at the water park gazebo?
This is a Danny question. I'm throwing it to Danny, putting him on the spot.
When your painting contractor comes back with the quotes for the gazebos and the water park for both structures, we would like to ask those painting contractors to also bid for professionally painting the aluminum benches.
And you have looked at them? You have looked at the aluminum benches?
Say that again.
Have you looked, you've looked at them, right?
We have looked at all the benches, yes, and the benches are absolutely structurally fine.
They are structurally fine.
They need to be
They
sandblasted.
just need to, they need to be sandblasted and repainted versus the cost of replacing all of those is going to be significantly different. We expect, that's why we're waiting for the numbers.
So those benches are roughly, I think about 7 years old.
Mhm.
Hollywood is guaranteed for 25 years. So basically you'd be kicking this down the road every 7 years and they've needed to be painted for a while. So you'd be doing this 4 times in the lifetime of a Hollywood bench. And the Hollywood benches are about 420, 430, if I remember
Correct.
correctly, a piece.
If it wasn't the fact that we painted them to start with, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
And you talked about the aluminum.
The aluminum. The
Yeah.
other ones are Hollywood, my friend, just so you know.
Yeah, well, the base is Hollywood.
Mhm.
The sides are metal.
And the metal is in excellent shape, looks like new.
Yeah, those, you can do whatever you want with those.
The poly, well, they're part of the problem, they're part of the same dilemma.
All right,
But if we had Hollywood, you'd be looking at the same sagging benches that you have on the old ones. So there's not a good win all the way around.
you know, those benches are 6, the ones that are saying, 6 foot. It's old technology. The new Hollywoods that we want are 4 foot. And the dimension of the material is a lot thicker.
I promise you, we're taking all of it into consideration.
You promise, okay?
Hey, Bill, you said you had one painter?
Yeah.
She sent me the names of 2 that they use, so I'll give them to you, maybe you can bring.
And also, if I remember, Patrick was gonna get you.
You got me one.
She sent me 2, so I'll.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's the one I spoke to. Patrick got me the one.
but don't forget,
He's a
the
busy man.
benches in the part of the contract.
Yeah, he's a busy man, Patrick.
Understand?
Okay.
Are there any?
Thank you, Bill.
Bill. Are there any other questions?
Our limited fishing policy is now 11 months old. I think we had a little bit of a hiccup getting started, but for the last 8 months or whatever, I think things have run very smooth. I think we've seen that there's very limited amount of people that actually fish. I think it's fairly well known that there was a very limited number of people that really had a problem with the existing fishing policy of being accessing all the community areas around our amenity, the lakes. So I'd like to see the board move forward here in the next month with opening back up all fishing on all lakes like it was before.
I disagree. And there's new.
Excuse me, I'm talking, thank you.
Brenda, hold it, please.
I would challenge the board to put forth some effort in the next month, looking at that and opening back up all that fishing for the community, for our visitors, for our grandchildren. I'd like to take a little poll while I'm up here, a little survey. Board, feel happy to join in. People online, also raise your hand. How many people would be in favor of opening back up fishing to the whole community? Don't be shy, board. I see a majority here of a limited number of people.
That's not the majority of the development.
Brenda, please, hold on. I know, hold on.
I think if we took that survey to the community, you'd see a very high number in favor. So I would like the board to consider that.
Okay. Wait. Thank you, Brenda.
Brenda?
I totally disagree. It's been very pleasant behind our house since this has been put in place. One of the people that broke the rule was Mr. Baker. The other thing is other people have moved in that disagree with it. This development was never developed as a recreational pond community to be fished in. And if you go to all the other developments in Brunswick County, you'll see the signs just like we have. And many of them don't allow it at all. So the way it's set right now with certain ponds being designated, I think has worked very well for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Yes, sir. Come on up, Bob.
Can't let this one go. Once again, and you know, I started this stuff a long time ago. It's not their pond. They disagree because it's on their pond.
It's not.
Excuse me, I didn't interrupt you, dear. Did not interrupt you.
It's not.
I did not interrupt you.
Hold on, please. We don't want this to get into a disagreement
Yeah.
between neighbors. Make your comment and then I'm gonna stop it. Because I don't want to hear any more arguing within the board meeting. Please, we can have a separate meeting about this.
It hasn't caused any problems for the people that are bordering on ponds now. And just because certain individuals don't want someone walking behind their house, they don't need ponds. We need to open them back up. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you. All right, that ends the comments on the policy, please.
Remind everybody about line ponds are not,
Yes.
we have several ponds that are lined with a rubber lining that is very thin. It's very expensive and it's very thin. I mean, you could pull it back. It's not a thick liner. A fish hook would pull that liner up from the surface and rip holes in it. Today, we have very, very serious level problems in a lot of the ponds. I mean, at the Mallard Pond and the Cardinal Pond, those well pumps that are filling those ponds work overtime because those ponds are leaking like sieves right back down into the aquifer. It's like a fish tank. The water goes through the pond down into the aquifer, and all we pump it back up in there. Now, the lakes that we did open to fishing, heron, and eagle, they had no liners. And, that's where you'd want to maintain the fishing.
As the, hold it, please hold it.
And that's all I wanted to remind everybody about those liners, because that's a serious, that's a serious issue with them.
Hold on. I'm gonna stop it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, we can't have this discussion tonight, so I don't
We
want.
can't have false information being put out.
I don't want any more argument. False information or not, poor people have had their say. This is a very small group. I'd rather have it in a larger town hall issue if we're gonna have something like this, rather than tonight in this board meeting. And everybody go away feeling badly. So it's just everybody's opinions, false information or not, that's your opinion. You're all entitled to give your opinion, but we're done with it tonight. Are there any other questions not related to the fishing policy? All right, well, thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned. Oh, it's only not mine, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you all for coming. This meeting is adjourned. More to come, I'm sure.